This is the future.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sigvalgrim here and welcome to another video. So I managed to play with Batman Who Laughs a bit and I can give a preliminary review. Again, I might be wrong and I'm hoping that I'm wrong and he's better than I think, and I'm hoping that I'm not wrong and he is not worse than I think. But again, this is just my personal opinion. I'll try to first up talk about his upsides, then about his downsides, because he's got a few downsides and some things that really don't work properly and should be fixed, and then how he kind of ranks, because a lot of you have asked me how he's going to rank compared to the other top characters and legendary characters. So yeah, getting into it, I'm going to start with the upsides. He's got the Joker AI, so that's functioning properly. We didn't have any more problems with AI literally not functioning and taggings not functioning like we had with Deathstroke. So that was all good. We got smooth combos and we got smooth taggings. Next up is gonna have percentage damage. So percentage damage is such a lovely thing because regardless of the situation, this is gonna be relevant, and it's gonna be percentage damage that's gonna be dealt in smaller chunks, so it's not gonna be hurt from the damage cap. So overall, the percentage damage is a big win, and it scales well with the star rating because like at 7 stars, it's gonna go all the way up to 40%, and it's not that huge of a difference between 36%. It's not like, let's say at 3 stars, you're gonna have a 15% and it goes to 40% at 6 stars. So I really like how they did the scaling on this one, and I think it's well done overall. It's well done. It's got Armor Sunder over here, so a lot of people don't really know what Armor Sunder is and don't know how effective it is, because so far we only had it on Mythic Wonder Woman, and there's just so many people that they had to play and experience Mythic Wonder Woman because so far she didn't have a challenge and she was not worth going for. So what Sunder is going to do is going to inflict this debuff on the opponent, and besides neutralizing shields and barriers, this is going to allow all your abilities and all your basic attack hits to do armor pierce damage against that target until the debuff is over. So right now this is the absolutely best way with Sunder to reduce the enemy's defense. The absolute best way in the game, and this might be actually the best debuff that we get in the game. So that's good. Also, the special 2 is going to be unblockable. So that's another nice thing. You can just throw it in there, and it's as far as I'm aware, battlefield wide, so you can literally be as far as the battlefield allows from the enemy. Use this and it will still work. I haven't seen if it can get jumped over it. I haven't seen that. It would be interesting though. I haven't really seen if that can be jumped over. And yeah, that's about it with the good stuff. Now let's get into the problems, because there are a few things about this character design that I kind of don't like. So special 1 is dumb. Special 1 is dumb in my opinion. So first up, make up your mind if this is gonna allow me to continue a combo or not, because sometimes it works, sometimes the enemy is gonna block after it. And the second thing, we got the taunt on this one. Personally, since this has a chance to chain into a combo, though I'm not even sure they intended that, but since this has a chance to chain into a combo, I would rather have the Armor Sunder on this thing and be able to constantly Armor Sunder and chain into combos, and have the taunt on this one. I think this would lead to a far smoother experience. But nevertheless, this is just a personal preference. Some of you guys might not agree, but something you got to agree is that the taunt mechanic works like absolute garbage currently. So the idea behind this is that taunt is going to force the enemy to use a special on you, and because you force them to use a special, you're going to counter them with another special using your Crisis Energy and apply your Ultimate Despair debuff. Okay, I see where you went with this. I see what you attempted to do with this. But the biggest problem is there's gonna be something called a cooldown between your abilities. After you use an ability, you're going to have to wait a couple of seconds before you're able to use an ability again. That's how it works for every single character. That's how the game works. So the problem is the game doesn't make the difference between your abilities that cost energy and your abilities that cost crisis energy. So this thing over here is going to literally not be usable, because you're going to taunt the enemy, and in most scenarios, you're going to get hit by the special and there's nothing you can do. That you taunted yourself, you taunted the special and you're gonna get hit by it. And you can't counter it, because you could counter that special with a Crisis Energy special, if you got the Crisis Energy, but the Crisis Energy abilities and the normal energy abilities share the same cooldown. So you use the special one, you taunt them, you force them into using a special, but then you can't counter it because your specials are on cooldown. This is amazingly dumb. The only situations you are actually able to counter a taunted ability is gonna be situations where the enemy's ability is gonna have a long animation, and even then you have to take a ton of damage from that ability before you're able to even counter it. I really don't think they intended both the normal energy specials and the crisis energy specials to share the same cooldown. They just forgot that's a thing, maybe. So really hope that gets fixed. This is currently the thing that pisses me off the most about this dude. Another thing that I noticed, and again, it's gonna be something that hopefully will get fixed, because it's a little bit of a problem. The special 2 will almost not stagger the enemy at all. So after you use a special, the enemy might be thrown around, might be pushed back a bit, might be staggered a bit. This one doesn't really do that, and that's a problem, because it's almost impossible after you do a special 2 to back off and block. You can barely block after using a special 2, and you'll have to have an optimal gameplay because of that. Because simply your animation is gonna almost end as soon as the enemy is out of the stagger animation. As soon as you're done with the animation of this, if you're in close range, the enemy is gonna be able to hit you, and you barely got time to block and no time to back off into a block. So this is yet again slightly annoying. Again, not a game-breaking thing, but slightly annoying. And the special tree is slightly uninteresting. I mean, it gives you some crisis energy and it has some dot damage on it, but again, not every single special has to do everything in the world. So yeah, not the biggest problem. Okay, now moving on. So, another thing that is gonna be a bummer for this character is gonna be healing, because he's got no healing. Again, this is not a huge issue. Not every single character in the game has to have healing. And he's got kind of this to try and counter not having healing, because it's going to constantly decrease the health of the opponent. But not having healing kind of forces you to put some defense on the character, because this is going to be a character that's going to stay a lot in combat. So yeah, that's something. It's a slight inconvenience, and again, I don't think healing must be added on this dude. Not every single character has to have healing, but would be nice if when he was in the final form, he could also heal with a percentage of the damage that's that he's going to deal. Next thing that's the final form is going to be a slight disadvantage actually in Arena 9 Champions. Arena Raids and Swords, you actually want to stay in this as much as possible, gives you a damage boost, but not having access to abilities while you're in this form is gonna suck in Arena 9 Champions Arena. It's actually to your detriment and it bugs the crap out of it. We've all seen the cursed form, and this thing, if you're transformed, then you transition from rounds of CA or from lake raid phases, as we have seen with him. Skipping phase 2 is gonna be buggy as hell, so it needs to get fixed. Another more like slight inconvenience to keep in mind, I don't think this should be necessarily changed or tweaked in any way, but it's gonna be something that's gonna be far less optimal for you. So look, on the bright side, the scaling is yet again gonna be good. You're going to get plus 300% attack, and at 7 stars I think it's plus 400% attack, so it's not that much of a scaling cliff. But at the same time, this is going to be base attack, so it's not damage. But again, it's gonna be a lot of base attack, but this is gonna heavily depend on your star rating of the character, in terms of the base attack you have, and on the level. Because base attack is going to be like this thing here. See, mine has almost no base attack at this point, because it's 3 stars and low level. So the higher star rating and the higher level is gonna be, the more effective this thing is gonna be. So it's gonna be quite a huge difference in terms of the attack buff for different star ratings and different levels of the character. That's something to keep in mind. But assuming he's got like 4,000 attack at 7 stars level 80, and that should be kind of close to the value that he might have. Again, I don't know for sure. He's gonna get 12k additional attack from this passive while he's in the Darkest Night form, so that is pretty decent, I'll admit. So yeah, those are the things that I kind of noticed, the things that I like about this dude, and things that I do not like about this dude so far. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, where do we place him compared to the other top characters in the game? Because people think if they should build him, if they should go for him, if they should buy him. So yeah, let's try to narrow it down with the information that we are going to have right now. First up, First thing that comes to mind, and I'm gonna kind of use my previous top 10 characters list to kind of try to get him through the trials of the, let's say, top 5 characters. Because he's gonna be in top 5, I think. So first of all, Deathstroke. He's better than Deathstroke. More percentage damage than Deathstroke. And he's gonna do something else other than the percentage damage, most likely. Though, again, that's gonna come into play at higher star ratings for the Batman Who Laughs. That's gonna come into play at higher star ratings, but the better he gets, the more he's gonna outshine Deathstroke. Not saying Deathstroke is not good, but he's just better. Next thing that I want to point out, he's not better than Raven. Like, that's not happening. Against there are a lot of characters that you could make some arguments against. Like in this scenario, he might be better than that and this and that, but no, he's not better than Raven. Like, nope. That's not happening. Now, what's between Deathstroke and Raven? So first up, we got Kim-Flan Sakuman. Is he better than Kim-Flan Sakuman? It depends on the situation, because Kim-Flan Sakuman has got some percentage damage himself on the special trait, and is gonna be in splits of 10. So King is gonna have less percentage damage than him. And at the same time, King is gonna get slightly more attack from the passive. Because this is like the main thing you got to compare his passive with the Kim-Flan Sakuman passive. It's gonna be very similar to Kim-Flan Sakuman, but Kim-Flan Sakuman is going to receive this buff throughout the entirety of the fight, not only when he's in like some final form or something. By the way, it's also base attack. I don't know why they said damage here. But it's also base attack that's this calculated with, and it's gonna be higher because this is all the way to 600%, Batman Who Laughs is only all the way to 400%. So he's gonna be better than Kim-Flan Sakuman in situations where there is a damage cap, because even though this is going to go all the way to 30% in theory, I mean, not really 30% because the health of the opponent is going to be constantly decreased, and the second one is not. It's gonna still deal 10% of the current damage, but still, you get what I'm saying. But if the enemy's got the damage cap, if this reduces it at 2%, you're gonna deal 2% of this 3 times, and that's it. While Batman Who Laughs has his percentage damage split in far more values. It's kind of the same scenario as Deathstroke. So where there's a damage cap, Batman Who Laughs will be better than Kim-Flan Sakuman. Where there's no damage cap, I think Kim-Flan Sakuman will be better than Batman Who Laughs. Now, with League of Anarchy, it's another team that comes after Kim-Flan Sakuman in the top 10. Will he be better than the League of Anarchy? Well, it depends. It depends on the specific situation. We're not gonna necessarily calculate League of Anarchy with Raven because that's a little bit unfair. But I would say in some scenarios, yes, in some scenarios, no, we don't have enough data for that. Is he better than Black Manta? It depends. Do you have Beta Club? If you do have Beta Club, I think Black Manta will be better than him. If you don't have Beta Club, I think he will easily be better than Black Manta. But yeah, that's about it. That's about it. That's kind of where I think he's placed. That's kind of my... that's the things that I enjoy about him, and that's also my grievances about him. Really hope the taunt thing gets fixed, because that's just annoying. That's a mechanic that we're unable to use right now. But yeah, all that being said, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!
This is the future.